Hey, what's going on, everybody? James here, your ABX audiophile. Today we're going to talk about a really cool product that has really been on fire kind of all this year in our Discord and other places. You probably heard about them. It is a company called Soulnote, and our good friend Jonathan over at Unveiled Audio over on the West Coast, just south of Washington, right across the border from Oregon and in Vancouver, has a beautiful shop over there. And he carries Soulnote gear, and a couple of the people in the Discord really was raving about these Soulnote A2 integrated amplifiers, stuff like that. And so I thought, man, we really got to get one of these in just so we could kind of compare it to some of the stuff that we've had kind of in that price point. Past Labs integrated 60, some other integrateds from Access and, Atoll and some of these companies that we kind of deal with. And there was just so much fire around this in the Discord for so long. It was like, okay, I got to get one of these things and really hear what kind of the fuss is all about. So if you haven't checked out Soulnote, make sure you go to their website. They make a wide array of separates and integrated amplifiers, phono preamps, integrateds, amps, separates, the whole thing. They're really, really cool. I believe the guys come from Marantz and they went and kind of started their own thing. They're made in Japan, super cool product. I mean, it's like, they're with the quality of the components that they're using and their build designs, and they're really pushing the boundaries of kind of eking out the last bits of performance from things. They use these special plates and these special spikes, and they talk about setting it on granite versus wood and kind of changing the sound profile and stuff like that. So a really interesting philosophy of sound, which we like. I mean, we're all about companies that just look at things and do things differently. It doesn't always have to be so cut and dry, and some of this stuff kind of pushes the fringes. And so anyway, we got the Soulnote A2 integrated in for review, and I had it for a long time. And I will tell you guys, this was a very interesting phenomenon because I had heard so much hype about this thing in our Discord. Then when I finally got it in, I almost didn't want to like it. And so I was really biased at first, and it probably took me a good 2 or 3 weeks of actually listening to the thing and really starting to kind of rotate it around through different pairings and different configurations before I really started to say, oh, okay, I see what's going on. There is something a little bit special here. So anyway, let's take a look at the Soulnote A2 integrated amplifier. Beautiful piece. And then I'll talk about kind of how it sounded, what our experiences were, who this is going to kind of be for, just some of the specifics. And yeah, it was a really, really fun time. And like I said, huge shout out to Jonathan over at Unveiled Audio. Make sure you go check him out at Unveiled Audio. You can just Google it. He'll come up. Really, really super nice guy. And he carries a lot of cool gear. And we were super excited for him to send us this one, and let's take a look. All right, so if you want to watch like a full technical spec rundown, go over and check out my buddy Ed over at Old Guy Hi-Fi. He actually did a review on this piece, and he dives into the specifics a lot. But at the end of the day, this is a very versatile integrated amplifier. You've got a fully balanced setup, single-ended setup. It can act as mono blocks and ran some different preamps into it. We paired the Past Labs as a preamp. My Past Labs integrated 60, about $10,000 unit. Beautiful preamp section. We actually ran it into the Soulnote A2. Absolutely amazing pairing. The amplifier section of the Soulnote is just to die for. It's super clean, super tight, super articulate, very, very high-end sound, super, super performance-based, man. I mean, you can get so much bang for the buck in their amplification section. The preamp section was really, really good too. We tried it, kind of both ways, running different things to it. Very versatile machine. I would say this is a very neutral integrated amplifier, a very neutral sound. I'm not going to say it's forward of neutral where it kind of gets fatiguey or edgy, but I will say that overall the tonality of this thing gives a little bit of a tipped up presentation. I've heard some people kind of use the term jazz hands. It does draw attention to itself a little bit, which is really fun. It's really engaging. It's a pleasure to listen to. It's got a lot of presence. Everything really kind of like makes you get into the tunes, and you're leaning forward and you're getting into the music and you're enjoying this thing. You're like, man, this is just vibrant and alive. It's a really, really cool sound. Pairs well with a lot of speakers. It's a high current setup, so it really handles a lot of different scenarios. Yeah, so not only is this like literally non-negative feedback, so there's no negative feedback going into this thing, which I don't know, man, some people are like gravitating towards this. And now that I'm kind of learning more about this, I'm kind of liking this style of sound and this style of design too, like not having that feedback going in there. The other thing is it's a BJT, so it's a different type of transistor than like a MOSFET, which is, if you talk to people about it, the BJT design can be what people would call better, a little more clean, a little more performance-based, a little more quick, whereas MOSFETs can kind of, generally speaking, I'm sure that you can get in any ranges here, maybe have a little more musicality, maybe aren't quite as transparent and kind of, clear in that sense or whatever. So there's a whole kind of debate between the different types of transistors that you're using, whether you're using MOSFETs or BJTs. It seems like there's a couple different camps there, but anyways, this is a BJT design. It's 100 watts per channel, so plenty of juice. It's got a lot of current here. Let's see, the volume section uses relays and high precision resistors instead of electronics, so it's got a really nice volume section here. Gets a little clickety clackety going on. The knob feel and the design of this thing just absolutely looks fantastic. They've got this really cool top plate that like talks about like different vibrations and resonance frequencies, and they've got these different types of spikes that you can put on the bottom of it, and that are directly coupled to the transistors, and like they've got this huge technology built into it that you can read about it on the website, that changes the tonality and performance of this thing depending on kind of what you have sitting on it. We bounced around with the different feet and sitting on different stuff, and if there are differences, they're small. I'm not going to say that it was something that I put the spikes on it and set it on marble and it was like, oh my God, that is just totally different than setting on wood. I think after reading the product descriptions and listening to people talk about it for so long in our Discord, I probably had some bias in my brain where it was like, okay, there's going to be differences, so maybe I just heard them that way. I'm not sure, but they are not dramatic. You can make more of a difference in, say, swapping out a set of speaker cables or RCAs or whatever. But at the end of the day, this thing is super fun to listen to. The bass is a little bit, I would say, like compared to my Past Labs Integrated 60, the bass is a little bit leaner. It's tight and detailed and put together. It holds together well. It's very, very cohesive and images well. It's not quite as full as, say, something like my Past Labs Integrated 60. The mid-ranges are quick and defined. The imaging is really good. It's got good focus, got good detail in the upper extensions. In the treble region, you're not going to get any of that fatigue or anything like that. You can make it fatiguing just because it's kind of neutral, so depending on what DAC or front end you're kind of feeding this thing is going to kind of blend a little bit. Comparing it directly to my Past Labs Integrated 60, the soundstage is a little bit smaller. One of the things that the Past Labs does so well is bass and kind of soundstage and that in-room projection and that kind of three-dimensionality to the kind of presentation. You lose a little bit of that with something like the Soulnote A2, but you gain some of that kind of immediacy and that speed and that little bit of forward extension on the top end that kind of just adds a little bit of sparkle and makes you pay attention. It's really good for micro detail. I noticed that the micro details, they were hanging in the stage really nice. You could see them really well. The space and layering was really good. It wasn't quite as full as, say, something like the Past Labs, in meaning, the images with the Past Labs are probably a little bit bigger in the soundstage, which kind of reduces that dimension and distance between them. Whereas with the Soulnote A2, you were getting a much tighter image in the sound stage, and they seemed to be farther apart, even though the Pass Labs integrated 60, the sound stage was, you know, bigger overall. So it's a little bit of a kind of a toss up, you know, bigger sound stage, but the things are bigger in the sound stage, and so it kind of all equals out a little bit, but definitely different approaches. So if you're kind of into this BJT, this non-negative feedback kind of design and structure, something that's a little bit more neutral and going to grab your attention and make you kind of, you know, pay attention to the gear and really focus on kind of what you're listening to, rather than something where you're just leaning back, kind of melting away into the music. Make sure you check out Soulnote, man. They are a really cool company. I think they got a really good philosophy. They're pushing the boundaries of things. They're very well regarded. They've got new A3 models coming out. You know, you can get the A2 used now for about $3-4 grand. I think they were $6,000 or something new. The new lines are in the $6,000-$8,000. I hear the phono preamplifiers are absolutely fantastic. And I would really like to have a set of separates integrated with some mono blocks. That would be so cool to actually check out. So anyways, check out the Soulnote A2. We had a ton of fun with it. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for our Discord. And if you haven't heard us talking about the Soulnote, then you're way late to the game, because we've been talking about it for a month in our Discord. So make sure you get into our Discord and hang out with us. We talk about this stuff daily. Over $20,000 raised for youth musical programs over the last couple years, and man, we're just having a good time knocking out the year with some good reviews. So anyway, thank you guys. Have a great day. I'm James, your ABX audiophile. Have a good holiday.